At Duke, we want to ensure that every student is climate fluent, regardless of their major. I'm heading to the Nicholas School of the Environment to talk with Judy Ledlee,
Hey, Judy.
a rising star in green tech. While pursuing her PhD at Duke, Judy studied emerging water treatment technologies and co-founded a wastewater recycling startup. She is now the university's first executive in residence of Design Climate, a startup incubator created to unleash innovative business solutions for climate change. Judy is passionate about bringing together entrepreneurship and climate. How lucky are we to have her in this role as we seek to create climate changemakers in every student? So maybe a good place to begin is, what is Design Climate?
Design Climate gives students the opportunity to create their own startup idea. It gives you the opportunity to imagine yourself as a visionary leader, like the one who's creating this startup idea. How would you create a business that would change the world?
That's awesome. And why is it called Design Climate? Can you tell me a little bit about design thinking and how that factors in?
I think it really focuses on identifying solutions to human problems. When you say climate tech, it's like all about developing something that helps reduce greenhouse gas emissions. That's not a burning, passionate human need that people are thinking about in their day-to-day lives. And so how can we understand what people want to do in their daily life in order to make products that address those needs and address the climate crisis?
You know, we talk about creating climate change makers here at Duke University as part of our larger effort to create climate fluency across the entire institution. I'm curious to know if you see that take place in the classroom.
Yeah, absolutely. An industry partner who works in the solar industry said, a lot of our solar plants are nearing their end of the life, but there's not a sustainable way for them to decommission these plants. The equipment will just be thrown away. What kind of alternatives do we have? And so then our students kind of looked into the problem and talked to different stakeholders in the solar plant development process and came up with a waste management service that helped solar companies go through the decommissioning process in a more environmentally sustainable way.
And I think it's hard to make the business case for that sometimes.
That's why we have to tap into people's values and what motivates them in order to create products and solutions that they actually want and that they'll hopefully adopt.
I think that's great because I think some people are skeptical of the role that business can play when we talk about climate solutions.
Yeah.
And I think if you think about it, the opportunity to have impact at scale, if we leave the private sector out, we're missing a huge opportunity. So when you think about where we could be in 5 to 10 years, what are your ambitions for Design Climate and how it would fit into this larger clean tech innovation economy that's emerging around us?
Yeah, heck, I want Design Climate to be the center of it. We've got the future climate tech leaders that are coming out of it who are learning design thinking as also like business fundamentals and climate fundamentals.
I can imagine that you're going to be an amazing mentor for some of these students as they continue to come forward as well.
That is my hope.
So if you ever have an opportunity to take your class up on the roof, it is a place where I think creativity is born, and I would love to show you.
Wow, it sounds amazing.
The roof of the Nicholas School is one of my favorite places on Duke's campus. Surrounded by native plants, solar panels, and an expansive view, it's hard not to feel inspired. One of the lovely things about being up here on the roof is that we get to look out over Durham. I think it's a nice perch to imagine what the innovation ecosystem of which Design Climate is a part could become. And my mind goes to where Silicon Valley was or Boston was in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and how they have emerged as these hubs for innovation in their respective cities. It makes me think of what Durham could be in 5 to 10 years as a hub for climate tech.
Yeah, I expect to see my students pushing the boundaries no matter where they are. And then also I'd love to see some of these ideas, come up, like students start to come up with like real startup ideas that could be viable. Like, let's see where we can really bring these.
Yeah, plug them into the emerging hub that is around us.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'd like to know what gives you hope. You've talked a lot about the students, and I'm just curious about how that plays into your own sense of possibility and hope when we think about, climate.
Honestly, it's seeing the passion that students have for climate and for anything that they're doing, really. Like, they're so excited to go out and make a positive impact on the world. They're truly climate change makers, and I can't wait to see what they get into.
I'm really excited to hear you say that because the One of the things that we talk about with the climate commitment is this idea that we need to get away from narratives of despair and despondency
Yes.
and take ownership of narratives of hope and possibility and creating new companies and
Yeah.
leaning into what they can be, or at least the leadership skills that it takes to be innovative in that way is certainly a way to create that hope and possibility.
Absolutely.
Spending the afternoon with Judy was an incredibly energizing end to my journey. Courses like Design Climate are encouraging students to develop real-world climate solutions, and Judy is a prime example of the Duke faculty members that are inspiring this next generation of climate leaders.